Hey everybody, this is Tarang here from Optimark along with Peter and Nick, and we just got out of a meeting with a pretty sizable account.
It's a bank here in New York City. They're looking for different ideas for their employees and their clients.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the process of actually taking all of the information from the meeting, which number one starts with taking good notes. Without good notes, you're going to have a hard time really understanding the needs of your clients, because when you're in the meeting, there's a lot of specifics that are being brought up. So always kind of sit in a meeting as a sponge and intake as much information as you can as possible. And then obviously right when you get back out of these meetings, within an hour or two if time permits, we highly recommend you take that and you take those thoughts and apply them back into exactly what we need for a presentation. So for the sake of walking through this, we're going to try to run through this meeting in about 15 to 20 minutes and we'll summarize it. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to share our screen, as you can see here. That's going to walk you through the notes from the meeting. And as we go through each and every product from the notes, we're going to put together essentially a presentation in which you're going to be trained through our corporate staff during your franchise training on some of the basics of how to make a presentation using the tools and resources we have here at Optimark. So, Pierre, you want to go ahead and get started with the needs?
Sure. So there are some immediate needs. They do have a company town hall on April 11th, which is about 13 days from now. And those needs were a post-it note with their branded brand and slogan on the top, as well as some pull-up banners, 2 pull-up banners, and 1 step and repeat.
So let's pause right there. So let's run through each and every item. Sure. So to start, as we've requested at general training on day 1, you're going to be brought through all of the suppliers that we use where we can get the bulk discounts. So for the sake of referring back to the sheet, which will again be in your employee hub, you should know what vendors are the right vendor for each application. Now when you think about post-it notes, we all think about 3M or Post-it. So we can see that that they're also part of the AIM buying group. So now we can take advantage of this buying group, and how we're gonna find the exact item they're looking for is right on Sage. So let's head right into Sage and see what they have for this particular product. We'll go to a product search, and we know that in this case, the supplier is 3M. And so we're just gonna look for the product, which is Post-it notes, right? So Post-it notes. So if I search for that on Sage alone, which is going to be one of our preferred search mechanisms for product, we immediately see Post-it notes. So this client, clearly they wanted to get pricing options available. Instead of overly complicating this, we're going to give them a couple different sizes. Sure. So you can see a 3x4, you can see here a 4-color option, you can see one that's a 4x6, and then see one that's 50 sheets. Now they need this fairly quickly, in terms of a turn time. And what they decided at the meeting was they did not want the cubes anymore.
Correct.
Now
they just wanted their logo on the front, so they don't need any writing or color on the side, and their logo in one specific PMS color. So we are actually looking for just one other color.
So you can see
the beauty of this is that this order will qualify for 24-hour rush shipping, which is free of charge by 3M. And their major product, the 4x3 notepad, is their #1 selling 24-hour product. This is information that we already know because we've been doing this a long time, but this is key for you guys to understand that it's not just about the product, but the logistics behind providing this product in a timely manner and guaranteeing that it's on time to make your clients event.
And the 4x3 would work good because they're using it for a strategy meeting where their employees will be writing notes on it, so it's a good size where they can write what they need.
So as we're going through that, I'm taking the exact items we selected for now and then putting them into a presentation on Sage. As you guys will see my screen, all the items have been loaded up, and I like staying organized based on item to not complicate my client. So what I would do is here an introduction. This is a client, we're gonna call it bank_Post-it notes, right? So now we're gonna need to know and then save that presentation. Now what we do in any presentation, depending on who's using or whatever, export, share, header. So you're gonna go on Sage down the list in terms of each and every opportunity that you have, and then we're gonna be able to essentially create a presentation for that. So as I go down the list and look at this, I also wanna know what my information is for the supplier. So in this case, if we need to contact 3M and the item numbers, everything will be here. We can call them and immediately get the pricing. Okay. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and share this presentation, and this is item #1 that we need to verify. And as Nick said, if they have free 24-hour rush shipping option, we gotta validate that given the timeline on when they need this item. So I'm gonna take this presentation and just see that this is what they're looking for in terms of the item. So I'd look at the presentation again, and again, you need to edit your who's using your Sage account based on the header. but it seems like we cleared that. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this again. And for the sake of time, we'll run through each item. You can see each item is here, and we just need to validate the turnaround time, which has not been identified here yet. So you're gonna need to call the supplier and make sure that for any one of these posted options, we can turn this around quickly enough. So that could happen with one phone call to the supplier, and then you asking your client which one of these items we're gonna end up proceeding and moving forward with. So that's item number one. Now, item number two, we've made a presentation. Yep. It's the pull-up banner stands and the step and repeat. Now, for wide format printing, pull-up banner stands or step and repeat brands, we have two suppliers we work very closely with. We highly recommend as option A and B. One is a company called 4over, which you guys will be familiar with, and another one is called B2 Sign. So think about Coke and Pepsi. They're the Coke and Pepsi of the wide format business. They have anything and everything, and they're able to turn things around quickly. So again, as an approved franchisee in our system, you'll have full login credentials to get in there, and we're gonna look at what they want. So now, they wanted a quality retractable banner stand. They said that specifically. Yeah. So we don't want to give them a kind of a partial item. So what we want to do here is, we'll look at pull-up banner stands. So if I look at banner stands, and you'll get the nomenclature down quickly, but you saw, Peter, how I brought up 33 by 81, which is the most normal size. So you see they have a deluxe retractable, a tension fabric, and a standard. Okay. I'd prefer you go with the deluxe simply because I want to make sure that they don't complain about the quality of the product, right? So if you see here, it's $59.99. If they want to do it double-sided, which I doubt that they're going to do, then you don't need to do that. You can see it's on a UV printed fabric, 33 by 81. If they want an LED light, you can have it. So these are all the images that you're going to want to save to send to your client to make sure they know exactly what the item is. So for my sake, I just want to make sure everything's clear. You can let her know if she wants to print on the backside, we can do that, but I highly doubt it. It's abnormal on a pull-up banner stand. So I would make sure she has all these images available for her reference. And this is where Evernote is super helpful to just put everything in one place. Even the color of the bag, she needs to see it. She'll know exactly what's coming in. So you got all your items there. Now what's great about B2 Sign, you see your cost here, we're gonna ship this to New York. So let's say blind drop ship, and for the sake of time, I'm just gonna give my 301. So if you see my address here, we're coming to bring this to New York. Yep. This needs to be delivered on when?
Before April 15th, April 11th.
Okay, so now realize that we don't have time. We discussed that the artwork is due Monday. Correct. If you see, they have a cutoff time at this company's site, at, like it says right here, cutoff time next day at 4 p.m. PST. So if the artwork is not approved on Monday by 1, that job will not be done. So we need to make sure by Monday we take this exact item, we process it, and instead of ground shipping, understand that we're not doing ground. This is all coming from California. Okay. B2 Sign's California vendor. So we're gonna do next day and not early AM, as we learned from our, learn from Shipping 101. So we do next day shipping, and so 96.31 is your cost. I'm gonna keep this item in here, and that's fully loaded. So just to save time to prep the estimate, your estimator can help you with that process, and I'm just gonna give you all the ammunition you need to then take these notes and then just bring them back to your estimator. So I highly recommend, whether you guys decide to use Optimark support staff for estimating or you guys are using your own team, just make sure you make it easy for your estimators to not have to think about putting together everything. You kind of want to give it to them to make sure that they go back to your client the exact way that you had initially recommended. Make sense? Yep. So now you have this note in Evernote that just starts loading up everything for your presentation. So here's the item, and the one thing I did not include here was the pricing, right? So on this, I can just tell you that knowing this client, you're gonna wanna at least make sure your time is covered. Time is money, and so we gotta charge for that. And so my recommendation on something like this, especially when she knows she's gotta overnight it, we can charge more, right? So on 96.31, standard rule of thumb in the printing industry is 96.31. We're not selling koozies and water bottles, no offense to promo guys, but there's a higher margin in this business. So your standard rule of thumb is you take the cost, you can easily do 2.5 times cost and you'll get the job. Okay. So if you tell her it's 240, round up, round down. So if I were you, I would just say for each one of them, I'm gonna charge you $239.99. That includes next day overnight shipping. And that's a great price. Right? So I would charge $239.99 for each one on these items, and she needed 2 of them, right? Correct. So do the 99 times 2. So now at this point, your estimator doesn't have to think. They know that this item is gonna be priced at that amount, and this includes overnight shipping.
That's great. Is B2 Signs our only vendor that includes the shipping?
Everybody does. Instant vendors, you get them anywhere. That's why.
That's the total.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is broken down a little further up. You can see what the overnight cost is versus what the
Okay.
Now, just so you know, if you're in a jam or you're in a fire, this is coming from California, so there's risk.
Yep.
Right? So to avoid risk, if you wanted to, you could order this from 4over and get instant pricing.
Yep.
But the only thing is, like, their pricing's not as competitive as B2 Sign.
Okay. 4over is a higher priced item, but they do have a shop here in New York that does the printing and sends it over in one day. So when it ships, it's done in a day. They also have next day printing capability.
And they've invested quite a bit of money in wide format, so you can look. So if you wanted to shop, we can go through that exercise on a separate video, but I would encourage that.
Nice.
I would encourage, if you're a good analyst, if I'm an analyst, my analyst is my estimator. So you could say, in here, say shop this between 4over and B2 Sign, right?
What you know by standard shipping is that one day ground in New York
is the same thing.
Cost $15, but at 4over, this banner is also going to cost not $59, but more like $89.
Okay,
That's
so
their pricing.
and realize that if they come back with the price, your leverage is, this includes overnight shipping. Realize that that's a big, and it's not going to be $34 for anybody else. It's because B2 Sign shipping so much, they're getting competitive rate. Okay. Next item, step and repeat banner. So you go back to the site and look at, well, what is a step and repeat banner? You think about all these things that go on at nightclubs or shows or galas. You constantly see the same logo repeating itself. That's just a step and repeat. So if you look here for that, and you look at step and repeat backdrops, that item's right there. So you click here and you can see that they have a standard option. As I told in the meeting, we either have an 8x8 or a 10x8, 10x8.
Correct.
So I mentioned, so I would recommend, instead of giving more options, give them one option that counts. See how it says it's hot? I would recommend go with a 10x8. If they want something else, then give them that option. Sure. And this is something where you can get fantastic margin on. So same thing, let's save our images of each and every item, so that this way when you go back to the client, you leave all the guessing away. And then we send a nice pretty little video like we have been about what our intentions are of how to be able to get them all this stuff. So setting this up is pretty straightforward and they'll be able to figure it out. All the items will come together and then it clearly says what the item is and what's included. Now you see again, it's on fabric, whatever, 129, same thing. We got to blind drop ship this. It needs to go to New York. So I check that and then immediately on this, you can see that ground shipping's 20 bucks. I do next day again. I don't need early AM, next day. So 210.62. Okay. Again, same rule applies. So I would screenshot this item, take this back, learn how to screenshot. In the printing and promo business, if you learn how to screenshot, you're gonna save a ton of time. So we do the same exact thing. We go through each item. Yeah. Sorry, download. 1148. Perfect. So here are all your items there for images that the client's going to want on that. Okay. So that's done. Now the next one is
on April 20th.
Wait. So we got to finish the price though, right? Okay. So we get that, and I want you to just include the number in here, just so that this way there's no guessing with your estimator of what the item is, right? Because everything's in here. They know the specs. They know the item. So same thing. They wanted one of these, right? So this is an 8x10 step and repeat. Okay, now for this 210.62, what was my rule again?
2.5.
Now, you can charge more than this. I'm telling you that they're not gonna get this at this price. This thing at retail will cost 350 bucks, you have to include shipping. So for this, I'm just guesstimating, I do $549.99, call it, right? So for that item, it's $549.99. I would just do 549.99 and put that together.
Okay.
Now, that's the next one. So now, Nick, this one you might maybe help out on. So they have a bring a kids to work day.
Okay.
So they need a shirt. I was recommending to them, I went on the Facebook promotional products group and I saw a dye sublimated backpack, drawstring backpack, dye sublimated. Yeah. So I thought that could be cool, fun item. And in there, we'd need to put a shirt and other. I came up in the meeting. I was on the Facebook group with the what is it called?
The slime.
Slime.
Kids love that.
Kids love that, right? Yeah. So let's get something that kids want. So now we need to put together the next product. All right, guys. So we went through the last estimate process. I'm gonna go ahead and start the screen recording here so we can get through that. And let's get through
the next thing we talked about at the bank today with in New York was an event coming up called Bring Your Kids to Work Day.
So they didn't really have
an idea
of exactly what they wanted, so we went ahead and did a search for them. We're going to put together
So in terms of using Sage, couple recommendations when making a presentation. And it's very important to know this, is we're going to be using Sage as one of our approved search engines for sourcing promotional products for any Optimark franchisee. In addition to that, for idea generation, we highly recommend you use the Facebook Promotional Products Group, which you'll get invited to upon being accepted, again, as a franchisee in our system. Once you're in that group, you can search for any sort of query. So for example, kids. So if I search for kids within the group, people will be asking questions for summer camp, any ideas for kids within this age group. And when you look at the comments, you'll be able to quickly see all the different options that ideas people have. At least the idea generation part can all be done here, which is a great value add. In addition to that, as an alternative option to search, Zoom catalog. And again, I'd write this down. There's going to be Facebook, there's going to be Zoom catalog. So again, if I search for anything related to kids, Zoom catalog will allow me to quickly search from every supplier's PDF and quickly identify the product number. Last but not least, we also have the opportunity to search directly in Sage. So what Sage will do is allow you to take these ideas and put together a presentation, and that we can do again on a separate session. But as we fast forward and kind of put together our presentation, here's really what we came up with in terms of a finished product. We thought that we would, for Kids Day, allow the kids to be able to get everything, like a handful of different items that they'd like. So the one thing we haven't put together is our apparel yet, the shirt, which we can do separately, but a toy, for example, everything could go in a nice drawstring bag like this. And so we gave a couple options for good, better, best for pricing. And then you junior puzzle. So this has become a very popular item for a lot of kids that like to fidget and play with toys.
It's a brain toy.
Yeah, so we got a couple of those options, and then since we're representing a bank, we wanted to put together something that could be unique to print out and show some money, also some puzzles that we included as well. And then last but not least, we put together some sort of a promotional product as well as sunglasses and things like that. So this is at least going to get the idea. Appropriate shirt that we can put into this bag. So we're going to search that item, which is the PC61Y, and here's the exact shirt that we want to be able to get pricing on. So I would assume that this is the Lumi color, which is deep marine for our bank, and something like this with a white one color imprint would be sufficient. So again, in this case, I want to just load up the image, and so make sure you have something again that you can present back to the client. And so for now, we won't need to price the apparel right out, but here's the item. We'll take the descriptor, put it back into the explanation. And then here, we can then load this up, desktop, and downloads. And again, we're just going to drop the artwork so we have everything in one consolidated place. Now, perfect. So you have all the items in one place here again now. Yep. So now we're on to the last thing, which is the tech day, which is a gift kit for adults when they walk in and they want a combination of things. So what we did here is we wanted to make sure that we come up with a standardized kit. Now there are big suppliers in the market like Reeds and HIT and Sweda and Evans Manufacturing, High Caliber. So these are all suppliers that have started understanding the kitting game is becoming increasingly important. And distributors are lazy. They don't want to do a lot of work. They want to know where they can get things. So we go to the HIT, for example, HIT Promotional Products, which is one of our top tier suppliers that has very unique ideas for different types of kits. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to put together a proposal that has different type of kit options to start with, where it's kind of bundled together and there's multiple things that they can get. And so we liked the ideas that were in each one of these that will add to the presentation. And we're gonna put this in the same presentation that we had earlier for Sage. all you got to do is enter the product numbers and then essentially add that to the final presentation you want to show to a client. So in this case, I'm only using hit one supplier to be able to find the ideas. And you're going to ask, well, where did you get those ideas from? I'm going to go to hit here. And again, you guys just need to look when you search on the site. Well, what am I looking for here? And in this case, it's kits. And within kits, you can see that they have a number of different options. So if I result all options, they have 120 kit options preset and available for you to choose from that give you the opportunity to really have a custom experience for anything and everything that your client might need. So this leaves the decision making to a much more limited process and allows you to come up with cool ideas where you don't have to worry about navigating through 10 or 15 different products separately. You got a one-stop shop and can order. So all we're going to do is we're going to tell our estimator, in this case Rex, to add these items into the existing Sage presentation just to save some time for us. So Rex, who's one of our estimators, is going to put this, and I'm going to say, please add a simple instruction to your CSR will allow you to make sure all these things are being added into the full presentation. And now from here, the last but least, I have some specific items that they want as individual items for their office. So for the 13 by 19 Gator board thing, for example, I'm just going to jump to another item, but for employee appreciation, they want a standard poster size. So I'd go back to B2 Sign and just look at things that, for example, this particular product that they had, styrene pop-up. So I'm going to look at pop-up and see if they have something here. So this would adhere like to the wall type thing. That's not what they want. I thought that could be an option, but it doesn't seem like what she wants. So what she wants is Gator board. So if I go to rigid signs and magnets, you can see here Coroplast, U-printed, etc. This is the material that they had on the side. You remember that?
Yes.
They had that black, hard material. So you can see here, it's 3/16 inch of Gator board. You're going to look for the cheapest option here per square foot. So now on this, what we had suggested was a set size. So the size that we recommended was 13 inches by 19 inches. So basically 1.73, so it's $8 cost to get one of those printed. So again, now you're going to do, you don't need to overnight this. This should be a standard ground option. So again, I'm going to take this item. I'm just going to make sure that all of this is loaded up here. You have your descriptor. And again, we're going to drop ship this to New York. If I send it to New York, again, the shipping is going to be just the same cost of the printing. So if it's ground, you can see that, I mean, the turn is a little long, but they get it on the 11th, which isn't that bad. If they order that now, if you set this up on a portal, this makes sense because every employee appreciation will be different artwork, but the same item. So if you standardize that in the system and you know that here's your cost basis on the item and here's essentially the last item that you need. So 13 by 19 Gator form. So what I would just do is I take and then, again, in this case, you're taking a screenshot of the item and you know your total cost is $16.15. So for this, I would again double it. I would charge with shipping or even more than double. I'd charge, so same, if you do 2.5, that's a good rule. Like you said, 16.15 times 2.5. So right there, perfect, $40. So you're going to charge $39.99 standard. So fixed ongoing pricing of $39.99. And there you go. So you got a good little margin there, and that's a recurring ongoing order. This other stuff, notebooks and this stuff, money clips, we can discuss after separately. But this will give you a full scope of exactly what's going on. And then if you want to share this, I always recommend using Evernote when you're trying to ideate everything because it's easy to have all images and everything in one place. So you can then debrief and share with any other key employee you want what's going on with this particular estimate. So if I go to share view, it'll generate a link and then allow you to share this link directly with your estimator. So I'm going to say, please take a look at this here, and we need to make a presentation on. So anything with Inc. is going to be our partner company where you submit any and all of your orders. So now all Peter needs to do for his client is submit this particular order right on the AWI system. And from there, at that point, he's ready to go and send the quote out to the client. So I'm telling my estimator in this case to please take a look at, you need to make a presentation on AWI for Peter, and then send.
Am I able to attach my Evernote to the AWI request?
100%.
Okay.
Just put it right in, click, boom. And now you don't really have to explain to your estimator in this case what to do. This conversation will take 16 seconds. Because I've done the homework for them. Now, had I not, I know shopping took a little while today, but it won't take that long. If you just follow the strategy, your recipe simple, Facebook, Sage, Zoom. And then last but not least, if you want to call the supplier and get ideation suggestion, just do that.
Sure.
And that's how you're going to get through quickly, getting through thousands and thousands of dollars of orders quickly and efficiently using efficient systems. So that's pretty much it on our end. And should you guys have any other questions, let us know and good luck.